La-di-da-di-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's gonna go wrong. It's gonna go wrong. All right. Good morning, everybody. Let's go with that one. Yes, Sergio earned it. Absolutely. Sorry, everything very long to get going today. All right, so you should have that. Yeah, I noticed that. All right, well, let's get going, huh? Welcome to forex.today. Hey, man, it's Monday. What is it? The 10th of April. Wow, we're just cruising along here, aren't we? Holy smokes. Welcome to forex.today. Let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Hola. My name is Wayne McDonald. I am the Chief FX Market Strategist for TradersWay.com. You are a trader. We are a broker. So we want to woo you. We want to earn your respect and your loyalty the hard way by investing into you up front when you're ready to trade real money. We hope that you will use Traders Way to be your prime broker for your successful forex trading business. You know, I have to have my happy. You gotta give it all you got, everything you got to give. Time to shine, time to live. Life is great, life is great, life is good. Life is beautiful. Now you're living out your dream with your hopes up high. You're only living in the sky. Thank you, forex.today. And thank you to you guys. Hey, if you have questions, comments, you want me to cover specific pairs, yeah, please join into the conversation. So I thought one of the things that we could do today is go through the calendar or go through the commitment of traders report, but I'm going to save that for tomorrow. So today, let's just do some technical analysis, maybe look at some swing trade setups. Get ready for a shortened week. I believe Friday is closed, right? Is it, it's pretty good Friday? Yeah, pretty good Friday coming up. All right, so investors, if they're going to trade this week, they got to get their trades in sooner than later. So let's take a look at the world. This is where we left off in regards to gold. Now, gold's projected high last week, as you can see. We actually hit it, or we got within a penny, I think. But let's just call it 1270. Okay. Now, with a high there, it's predicted that the market would have a low here, which it actually ended up having. M2 to M4, perfect week for gold. Absolutely perfect. Oh, well, okay, we missed it by 1 penny on the bottom, 1 penny on the top. Okay. But hey, 30 bucks on gold, that's pretty good. And then we essentially, in the pivot profit zone, We eventually double top, drop, and here we are. It's too bad all of this was for nothing, huh? That's just sickening, isn't it? Some people look at that and see all the money they make. I could see all the money I could possibly lose just because that's such a spike, right? Is that just terrible? Just sickening, huh? And then back around. But there's a lot of, laws of the universe that that was followed if you look at this, huh? So I like it as a chart. I actually like it as a chart because it looks like it did what you would expect it to do if you happen to be bullish. Now, last week's bottom was a central pivot, which is very, very high. Last week's bottom should have been down here. The problem is it started bullish and it ended bearish, right? In this case, all it did was small retracement and then back up. But if you're still bullish, it climbed up pretty nicely, opened the week right at the M2, ended the week at the R2 actually. And then back around. You can see that I already had these areas marked as resistance days in advance. So we come up to these areas and sure enough, whoever bought it down here took profit because that's what they're supposed to. You see, I like that. I like to see a market where the market takes profit where it's supposed to. That tells me I can make money in a market like this because it's predictable. People are playing the way they're supposed to. Have you ever played poker against someone that's in it for fun? And they're not following the rules. You can't raise on a jack two. Why not? Yeah, it's you can't. Are you? You don't even know what to say to them. So, anyways, so it looks like everyone's playing the way that they're supposed to. That's pretty good. Question is, are you? Well, I guess there's two questions. Are you going to dump gold or buy it back? Or is the fall in gold a predictor of a rise in US dollar? Hey, Irish Finance Minister Noonan just raised GDP forecast for Ireland to 4.3%. Wow, that's great. So Noonan, I don't know if you know his story. Ireland, as you know, was a pig, one of the countries that, let's say, put fuel on the fire for the economic crisis in Europe. And Noonan turned Ireland around fast. Turned him around fast. So he did a good job. But people forget when they talk pig, they're like Portugal, Italy, right? Greece, Spain. Like you're missing an I. There's Ireland in there too, except they swallowed the bitter medicine very quickly. Short things up very quickly. So anyways, good to know. But look at that. GDP at 4.3% for a pig. Okay. Oil still trying to head back up. All right, that's fine. That's fine. You know the bigger numbers are like between 55 and 60. So if it wants to go up, it wants to go up. Don't fight it. looking at it, rising up, moving on up to the east side. Finally got a piece of the pie. I think that was gonna work. Look at that. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Just looking at it pure monthly. See where it goes. Seemed to me it opened up too hot, so I'm gonna have to let it run. 54.45 might be a better short. We'll see. There's nothing there at the moment using these lines. Just kind of have to wait. You should observe the moving averages. How they're propping this thing up. Right? See how they almost seem like rubber bands or something, huh? Bloop, 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 bloop. Just keeps them up there. All right, Noki should also track oil. And this says strong Norway or weak dollar, but the gold drop says strong dollar. Do you see this? You're a swing trader, you'd be short. Problem is, I don't like shorting into an uptrend, so you'd have to be careful or maybe catch a double top and then a drop. The other side of that, of course, is buy it down in here, which is probably a better move. And remember, then you could also say, well, you believe the dollar is going to get strong because of drop in gold. And, and maybe oil is not quite ready to fall, but may fall soon. So maybe a down and then an up. Maybe, right? Because remember, you can only sell it up here or buy it down here. You follow? Right? So if you're a bull, you're going to take this top, this top, this top, this top, this pivot area, and you're going to look for a slingshot north. Okay. Remember, when you kick off the weekly central as the low, the weekly R2 is the projected high. So that's your Noki. Here's last week's support, which we stared at for days. Tax that for days. And then what? Well, it depends on what you want to do, huh? Is this a good place to sell? No. You could buy it if you wanted to, but it's not a good place to sell. Now, a bull, so let me zoom in a little bit, may have that in mind, and they would be observing the market sort of this way, don't you think? You see it? That's how a bull might be looking at it. So the question is, how are you going to look at it? Well, we're still below the 21 on the 4-hour now. You see how flat it's getting? You see that the angle of separation between the 21 and 55 is expanding. Now it's diminishing, isn't it? I should probably invent something that measures the distance between two moving averages. And if I did, I'd call it, I don't know, like a moving average convergence divergence indicator. One that says when they're diverging and another one says they're converging. So I'd call it something like a moving average convergence divergence indicator. It definitely would do something like that. But it's kind of hard to say that. Hey, man, did you see the moving average convergence divergence indicator? So I'm going to have to give it like an acronym or something. What would I call it? Maybe like an MACD? That doesn't sound good, MACD. Why don't we just call it like a MACD? Yeah, we'll just call it like a MACD. Oh, shoot, we already have a MACD. Oh, dang it. Well, anyways, if we had a MACD, you'd see that it would be heading up back toward the water line. It would have just slightly crossed. It would be significantly below the water line, but just recently crossed and started to move back up. Now, I don't know if this MT4 actually has a half decent MACD. Because the one that comes with it is terrible, right? So maybe I have one custom. I don't think I do though. That MACD? Let's see. So I want to measure the distance between the 21 EMA, as I just said, and the 55 EMA, since that's what we're just looking at. I like over 8 periods because it's a fib. Why not? Let's see if this one's okay. No. Anyways, you can see though it's just slightly starting to move up if you look at the. So you can see I'm right. So why are there so many empty 4 MACDs with only one line? Right? There's so many, right? You notice that? I don't get it. I mean, I must be totally missing something, but if I was measuring the distance between 2 moving averages, I'd want to see 2 MACD lines. Why would you only want to see one? Must be way off. These are all copies of junk from other MT4 setups. Try that one. I think it's going to be exactly the same, isn't it? 21, 55 measured over the last 8 periods. So much better. You are so beautiful to me. Idiots. All right. So anyways, if you wanted to start long bombing this, that's up to you. Right. It's up to you. It's not quite climbing north, but it could, right? Any one of these cycles north. You know, you'd have to be cognizant of previous levels of resistance. We haven't made it above that. We haven't made it above that. We haven't made it above that. And then follow this line back here, and you can see they're in a little bounce zone now. Should go up if it's going to go up. Right? I'll just mark it maybe just in case you don't see it. You see that bottom? Bring it over here against that top. It's called a roll reversal, right? So ideally, if it was going to go up, you don't want to head back below that and then have to fight your way back above. So, you know, you just hope it works out. Wait your opportunity. How do you measure that? Well, I don't have moving average crossovers here, but, you know, 5-8 cross up if that's helpful to you. Right? Maybe you're measuring it this way. So again, it's all buy zone to me. Maybe you like Fibonacci. I cannot trade without the Fibonacci. Oh, that's so much better. Whatever. So what do you think? You going to do it? Da, 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 da. You gonna attack? Attack! Attack the Cloud City at once. Bring Captain Solo to me. No! Yeah. Still like the on the 4H, huh? Wow. I could break that over my knee. Come on. Boom, 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 boom. You know, it kind of feels like to me today, or this week, let's say, up to the 55, right? Which, of course, the bears are then going to sell, drop back down to the M2, and then we double bottom and work our way up. Or I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting ahead of myself. Yeah, I mean, if it wants to fall, you should let it fall, right? Why get in the way? If you believe they put a man on the moon, man on the moon. There we go. Like that. Here's my drop zone. Ryan doesn't like the 4-hour 21. I say, hell yeah, bring it up here and then we'll dump it. Oh yeah. We got to bring that daily 21 down though, don't we? So I'm still thinking short term long to long term short. Be long today, short. Long today, long tomorrow, short the rest of the month. I don't know. Hey, does anybody own a G700? Do you like them? Thinking they might be hard to park in the grocery store. You have trained me well, maybe too well. All right. So, anyways, look at that. It's amazing it's a 50% retracement. Yeah, it was funny. I was looking at a G700 online, and then over the weekend, I was watching golf, the Masters tournament, sponsored by Mercedes. And in one of their ads, they had a bright red G700. I'm like, oh my God, it's meant to be. Does anyone know what a G500 is? So we'll see what happens here. A little down, a little launch point to the up. So imagine the G500, but the G700 is twice the size. as a G500. They look exactly the same. The G700 is built on like a semi-truck chassis. Like you can't park it in a garage or anything, or even in a parking lot. Anyways, I can carry some golf clubs. Anyways, yeah, you could put a taxi in the back. So, anyways, if you want to get one, there's one on eBay Motors for 450,000. It's nice. Anyways, look at that. What a miracle. What a remarkable thing. It seems to be bouncing. Cool, huh? Isn't that neat? Now, the issue is, can I get beyond this line? Okay. See, this is where bears would sell, right? If you're looking from the top being up here, down here, that's about a 50%. A little higher is about a 618, isn't it? Right? Just think of it as a bear. Where would you sell? Right about there. Right? I mean, it's easy. Just you can do this all day long. If you're a bull, where would you buy? Oh, you'd buy in this area because of the price action, right? Here and here. So if you were a bear, where would you sell? Oh, well, up in here. You can just do this all day long. Hey, look at this. Of course, a bear would sell there. Like, it's just like, I don't know, obvious, right? Just depends if they pull the trigger, but those are the areas. It's really this bigger one that's important because it's sort of like a step up, 50% up, 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 down, 382, up into here, down, down, down. Work its way in. I'm thinking really, it'd be great to catch it around 80, huh? Canadian housing starts 253.7. Oh, smokes. That's a big number. Those are some big numbers, Canada. Huh? Burning their britches. Those are some big boy numbers for Canada. Do I have Canuck on here? Yeah. So there's last week's double top. It's amazing that it held, huh? Clearly in the sell zone. Weekly target for USD Kitty CAD is going to be $1.32.5. Yep, $1.32.5. Cool, but let's look at, let's just get rid of USD yen. It's so neutral. Let's put the Kitty CAD yen on that. CAD yen, yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Let's see what she giveth. And starts overbought. Go! Damn you, CAD. So it's overbought. So now, if you're going to trade it, you have to trade moving averages or price action. You just don't have pivots. Okay? It's overbought up here. Doesn't mean it's going to go down. What it means is you're buying it overpriced. Right? Now, if you were going to be a bear and you were going to dump this is exactly where you want to be, right? A bear would want to dump this at 83.33. Doesn't look like you got the market conditions to do it, but it'd be miraculous if around 83.33 it all of a sudden turns red. If it does, you might want to put a, drop a lot, pop a stop, just so you can get lucky. But nonetheless, what seems to be happening here is that you could buy dips to the 21, for example, and maybe move it north. I'm going to mark the month beginning of April. Boy, April moved fast, didn't it? Holy smokes, eh? All right, so that is the boom. So let me back out here. I'll put it on the hourly. So we got a bottom as an support. So the top is up here. So the theoretically, we're supposed to be up to like 85.5. This is overbought. So the higher it rises, the more likely it's kind of going to roll over for a while. But I don't see it even heading up here. So I don't know. There's a lot that I find hard to believe on this at the moment. Right now, I think it's a little too much. So, so like, for example, here, let me try to, I'm thinking out loud, so it's hard to explain, but if I'm going to buy this, I have to buy dips. So I'm going to have to let it come up and then come down and buy it this way. So it's too early for that. So the next part is maybe you sell it at the weekly central, or sorry, the monthly central, WR1, or even a little higher, WM4 monthly CPP, and back down. And I think I'll do that. It's going to be sort of like the first plan. And then if that fails, it's because it has turned bullish. And I'm just going to pick it off the cluster, the weekly monthly cluster there. And then I'm going to assume a move like this, which will probably take longer than this week. Okay. And that's the target anyways. Because of this bottom predicts this top. Okay. Which is a form of consolidation, actually, large-scale consolidation, which means it'll probably come all the way back down here in June. July sort of fizzles around the middle, and maybe August, September, we bring it back up and we get a full-on reversal, full CAD strength, full yen weakness. Now, what could explain what could explain something like that? What could be part of your theory? So remember, you're going to sit down later this week with a billionaire and tell them something that you know that they don't know. And one of it is that the CAD yen is going to take off, but not for several months. Why? OPEC meeting, blah, 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 blah. Sure, you could throw that in there, but you're close, but I wouldn't, I don't know, I wouldn't go with that. Because you don't know what's going to happen at any OPEC meeting. So you don't want to go in with that being your alpha. You're like, well, I know there's a meeting this day. I don't know what's going to be said or what decisions will be made or what press releases will be released, but I'm going to bet all your money on it, right? So you can't lead with that, is all I'm saying, right? Yen pairs get out towards the last. Yeah, okay, it's a little weak. Maturing of contracts. Maybe, yeah. There's demand for oil coming in June, July. Yes. Okay, there you go. So that is where you'd go, Ryan. Based on your analysis of the last 50 years of oil inventories data, storage levels in the United States peak in June and are drawn down by the rest of the year through summer driving season and for heating of homes in the Northeast that still use heating oil, which is amazingly common there. So you're just like, yeah, so my analysis shows me 50 years of data predicts that, June oil inventories will level off, and by October and November, we should be drawing them down. And since we've gone years without inventories falling, it would be really big news, and it should, prop up oil prices. So you're going to be long CAD, and you're going to be long Noki. But you don't expect Norway to take off nearly as much because Norway is is North Sea oil, not WTI. But a rising tide raises all ships. Okay, something like that I'd go with. And then you say, well, and I want to time some of this with some OPEC meetings. You say, I don't know what they're going to say, but I know what they can and cannot do. And they can't produce more oil even if they wanted to. So, okay, so whatever. Now you got to throw in some caveats. You say, well, the other problem too is if inventories are low, maybe and oil prices go up, we'll just frack more, right? Then you say the other caveat is you're also watching rig count on a weekly basis, and they're turning on rigs in the Gulf of Mexico as fast as they possibly can. So do they overflood the market with oil? They very well could be. So even though these are good long-term historical trends, you're going to need to actively manage this. This is going to have to be a day and night operation. But you can count on me, sir. Yeah, Ryan, I mean, it could be contributed to a lot of things, right? But yeah. So 2 weeks from now, Congress is going to get back from, um, the non-religious government's going to come back from their religious holidays. And the first thing you're going to find out is the government's budget is going to run out, so that they're going to have to get a new budget. And of course, nobody's prepared for such a thing. I don't think there's even a real budget. So they're going to have to argue for a week or two and then pass a temporary budget, which gets us to September. September being the fiscal year end for the United States of America. Right. It's probably, a whole mix, a witch's cauldron of things going on. Maybe it's something as simple as the Santa Claus rally, right? Maybe the retail places orders in the summer, factories start kicking in August and September, and some of the stuff starts to get shipped, and with factories humming, there's demand for things like commodities, and of course, bulk to dry index starts going up on various things. And it just looks like there's more, like there just might be more economic activity at the end of the year, simply because of Christmas. I mean, that's it. Religion plays a huge part on economics around the world. Always has. I've heard if you go to Dubai at certain times of the year, you could pick up like gold Rolex watches dirt cheap. And it has to do with people going home to visit their family, and they need to have gold jewelry and stuff to look to the part, like everything's good, that they're doing well. And it's just it's not like you're trying to lie to your parents or something, but it's just, you're showing that you're doing well. So you go and you're covered in gold and jewelry and Rolex watches and everything. And then the holidays are over, and then you're like, yeah, I think I'll take the cash. And you dump all your gold. And apparently you can go to like stores, and they got slightly used Rolexes, like hundreds of them. You could pick up like a $50,000 Rolex for 23 grand. You're like, what? That kind of stuff. Yeah. But and I heard it's just part of a human cycle. It's just, in America, we don't buy gold. We buy hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of toys made out of plastic and mold and lead, and just fill our homes full of garbage. But the thing is, you take some worthless piece of junk made out of plastic, and then you got to wrap it in boxes of plastic. You can't just have a box. You got to have like 5 boxes within a box. And it's just an unbelievable amount of crap. Oh, it's just they start buying fakes now. Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting, Roland. Maybe it's not gold, but it's Rolexes. Maybe I must. Someone was telling me. I wish I could remember now. There is a holiday-related gold thing, but it may not be gold jewelry then. But gold. He was telling me one time. Gee whiz, I forget. I'll have to call him. But several years ago, we're talking. He's like, "Yeah, in 3 weeks, gold's going to drop. Get ready." And I'm like, "What do you mean gold's going to drop 3?" He's like, "Well, blah 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 blah. It's going to drop." Like, okay. So Roland, so Muslim internet. Okay, so then, but was it Daniel? Maybe Daniel was telling me. Was it Danny Boy? I was thinking someone else was telling me. Yeah, Hindus love gold. Sure, who doesn't love gold though? You can't say that. Yeah. Like who says, "Oh, get that gold away from me. I hate gold." You know what? I need in my life brass. I need more brass. Got to get rid of this gold. Do you have any brass? It's just like gold. So, anyways, I don't know why we're babbling on about this stuff. But yeah, I'm just saying humans are the ones that move these markets, supply and demand. Like, never forget that. And so, why does one thing happen versus another, or why does it happen at one time of the year versus another? Inevitably, it's human action. You know, economic activity related to 350 million Americans spending way too much money on junk. I mean, if I was more religious, I'd be very upset. I'm like, Christmas has nothing to do with Christmas. Easter, we're going into Easter. Easter has nothing to do with Easter. Let's all run around the gardens and pick up eggs and eat chocolate bunnies. I'm like, pretty sure it was. That's not the celebration. Let's decorate Christmas trees and shove gifts under there. I'm like, wait, I'm pretty sure if you look into it, that none of that has anything to do with Christmas. I mean, it's weird, all the pagan stuff, huh? The world is so pagan. At least maybe America. America is a very confused country religiously. All right. So I'm just taking a look at all this. Well, it doesn't seem up yet, does it? Look where we started. Isn't that beautiful? I love it, huh? Now, even though I've always been a bear on it, I just somehow thought it might go a little higher before it fell than it actually did. You notice, because this is something I teach you to do constantly, right? Looking at the old support resistance levels. But look at that. Seemed like it had something to do with it. I thought it was going to get to like 9 or 10 and then drop, but drop it did. That's pretty cool. Video shows man being forcibly removed from the flight. All this effort. Whatever happened to like stun guns? It's slipping out. So what? Zap them, dump them out the door. Move. Yeah, it's funny. People that, so Warren quotes, average forecast gold 1310 and stuff. But I'm just not a gold person. I don't think I'm like terribly bearish though either, right? Like I'm not someone that's, I don't really have an opinion on it, right? Kind of thing. Some people can get really opinionated about gold. There's a lot of emotion attached to it. Lots of people own lots of it, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of mysticism about it, in of itself being a real currency, not a fiat currency. All that. Okay, great. All that aside, I don't have any positive or negative attachments to gold. So when I look at it, there are options in the world for investing money. I could I could put it into real estate. I can put it into bonds. I can put it in the stock market. I can put it in all kinds of programs, right? One of the things I could do is I could buy physical commodities, like I could buy gold. Now, I'd rather have $1 billion of physical gold and $1 billion of physical wheat, because wheat will spoil, right? But all right, so great. So whoever's selling me gold then should give me a presentation. They should give me a sales pitch, because I might buy $1 billion worth, and it's a lot. So you convince me, right? And I just have better opportunities. Like, it's not that it's bad. You could totally own physical gold, and it wouldn't be bad. You just might not make any money on the short term, right? Which just takes away the liquidity. But I think you could own gold your whole entire life, and it will have value. It just may not be as valuable as what you bought it for. Or you might have to wait a long time for it to go back up significantly. In that case, you have your carrying charges. So if it costs you, let's say, 3% a year to hold it, now you need, you need to make 3% profit just to break even. So if you held it for 10 years, that ends up being 30%. So now you got to get it to go from 1,300 all the way to something else. All these things just become problems, right? So over the course of 10 years, just to break even, you got to get this thing back to $2,000 an ounce. You're like, I'm not that convinced that we're going to do that. I don't want to carry the carrying charges. I don't want to lock up my cash in physical gold. I could, but it's not necessarily what I want to do. So I look at other things. That's all. Right. So with interest rates going up, the dollar should be strong, and with the dollar being strong, gold prices should fall. So I might follow the Fed for a while, and maybe 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years, or maybe 10 years from now, maybe I'll buy some gold, right? But the thing is, and I explained this, it might have been at non-farm payrolls on Friday, where I did a supply and demand curve for money supply, right? And its impact on interest rates. And we talked about the Fed unloading their balance sheet. And even though it's not the Fed raising interest rates, it should increase interest rates in the United States. It's kind of the same thing. You get it? So that should be dollar positive. The number of dollars in the world will fall by 4 trillion over the next, could be 10 years, right? So if there's 4 trillion less dollars, that could make the dollar more valuable. If you needed one, there's going to be 4 trillion less. So now you got to fight people for your dollar because you need the dollar. You need to do a business deal in dollars, right? When you sell oil in Jakarta, you sell it for dollars. So what if you needed to buy $1 trillion worth of oil from Jakarta? You're like, well, I need me some dollars, right? So now you got to fight people for these dollars. So that could diminish the value of gold. So I'm still not a buyer. I haven't been a buyer of gold since it was $650. Right, and that's that. And maybe I'm oversimplifying, Ryan, but when you look at things from a long point term point of view, like if we're talking about gold over the next 10 years, I think the simple version works. Now, maybe it doesn't predict what gold's going to do today or tomorrow, or even this month, based on the simple model. But that's what models are supposed to be, right? You're supposed to take complex amounts of variables, boil them down to the essentials, and then use that to try to explain the past, present, and future. So that's all it is. So if we believe the Fed's going to unload, let's say, not even all of their balance sheet, half of what they added to the balance sheet, that's 2 trillion less dollars circulating globally. So if you needed one, you're going to have to fight harder to get one. And if that means if demand is the same and supply is less, then the value should go up. And then if gold is still the anti-dollar and the value of dollar is going up, then gold prices are going down. So 1,300. Why not 800? So, and have you ever done something like maybe just for fun? Maybe you do this in the summer. You have a summer project. Maybe I should do like a summer school or something, and give you a project. Right, and here's the project. I invest into your firm $1 billion, and you can have it invested for anything liquid, like let's say stocks and bonds and stuff, 5-year horizon. But if you're going to get yourself into real estate, that's cool too because that's different. So we'll give you like a 20-year horizon for that. How would you break down your portfolio? You should, I mean, just for fun, you should teach yourself to be a champion, right? Like if you had $1 billion, what would you do? $1 billion, it's nothing. No, not FX, real estate, RE. Because you can't really get yourself into, let's say, real estate development project and pull out in 5 years. It'll take you 5 years to get it up and running. Okay, but so you you're right. So you basically have long-term and short-term investments, right? But like what I mean though, too, Ryan, is like research the actual purchases and break out your actual allocation, write it down, like put it all in a spreadsheet, and your assets and such should all add up to $1 billion. Pick out the exact stock, pick out the exact stock indices. Like if you're going to go with the S&P 500, or you're going to have to go through an ETF, for example, what ETF, what's the price today, and buy, make your investments on paper and see how you do. Would it be great 5 years from now? You're like, dude, You're up 70% or something on $1 billion portfolio. You're like, I can do this. This is something I can do. You should do it. Instead of thinking abstractly, manifest it into reality, right? Right? Everyone's so abstract. Like, one day I'm going to do something great. Well, why don't you just get up this morning and do something great? Right? Yeah, why don't you just start now? Be awesome now. Someday when you're all alone. All right, so Pig Dog. I already have this target from, I think we did this, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. Yeah, still on our way down to $1.23. You're all. See, the virtues of being a medium-term trader versus a short-term trader, right? Like, what did you do here? Well, I sold it on Monday, 3 weeks ago, and then I sold it, or 2 weeks ago, and then I sold it on Monday 1 week ago, and well, it's Monday today, so yeah, I might sell it. I might sell it, but for tomorrow maybe. I don't know. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. This forex thing's consuming me. Every Monday I have to sell it. It's like crazy time consuming. Okay. But it's supposed to be way up here though, isn't it?